What's up, my beautiful people? Exile451 here with yet another daily dose of Reddit Happy. And we're going to be going back into r/AskReddit today for some funny stories that I know you're going to be able to relate to. So, let's get to it. Okay, so the AskReddit question is, my roommate was wearing sunglasses because he didn't know how to turn his computer screen brightness down. Reddit, what is the funniest way you have seen someone use technology? My mom didn't know you could click on links in emails. I didn't know how long she had been doing this, but one day I caught her writing down entire links so that she could type it into a new tab to go to the links. Oh, and we're off. My mom did not know how to connect to the Wi-Fi. So now our Wi-Fi network is called Mom, click here for internet. Not even joking. Hey, it makes sense. Keep it simple, stupid. Seen a friend Google image a ruler on his iPhone and use that to measure things. I kept telling him it was inaccurate because he was zooming, but he kept saying it doesn't affect it. You have a predefined screen size. Whatever. I have a friend who will type into the search bar, which uses Yahoo, google.com. Click the link to Google, search for facebook.com in Google, click the link to Facebook. I tried to explain the address bar to her, but she accused me of trying to break her computer. It's 2020. I mean, seriously, how does someone not know the address bar? My grandparents, who are literally still using first-generation iPhones, know how to use the address bar. Oh my gosh. There was an HR lady at the corporate office of a company I used to work for. She didn't know how to select multiple files or drag and drop between folders. Things that seemed like basic knowledge for most any computer user. Once she had to move some internal records over to an external hard drive. So she'd open up each document, go to Save As, and saves it on the external. She does this for about 2,000 files. Afterwards, someone explained to her how the tasks that took her 3 days should have been a matter of seconds. I can't fault people who didn't grow up with this kind of technology for not necessarily realizing that this is a thing, but at the same time, how do you get to be in any sort of human resource position without knowing you can drag and drop things? That's a daily thing, I'd imagine, for a lot of HR people. My goodness. Follow up to that one? If there's a hell, that's what's in it. You are strapped to a chair, Clockwork Orange style, and forced to watch some lady save as a bunch of files to an external hard drive, and then type in google.com and search yahoo.com. I worked with a woman who had to edit Word documents containing dozens of boilerplate records. If she had to edit the template, she would literally go to each record in the document and edit it manually instead of find/replace. A simple 30-second edit would take her days. But then again, she didn't know she could have her email and documents open at the same time. If I asked, "Did you get my email?" she would save her Word document, close Word, open Outlook, check the email, then reverse the process to get back to her document. Mind-boggling. I helped a family member teach an intro to computer class at a small-town library. It was mostly old people who had never touched a computer before. After explaining what the mouse was, I instructed them to move the pointer over the big E to open Internet Explorer. This old lady promptly picked her mouse up and put it on the big E on the computer screen. A college student who attempted to fold a 5¼ inch floppy disk to fit a 3½ inch floppy drive. Yes, I'm old. Shut up and get off my lawn. When I was a kid, I was at the tail end of games being on floppies. So I remember floppy drives and everything and running C command prompts to be able to boot them up. Oh, man, that feels like forever ago. About 20 years ago, I had a friend that ruined his microwave oven and wasted unknown amounts of electricity by frequently running it with nothing in it. He was using it as a timer. And yes, it did have a timer on it. He just didn't know how to use it. He does tech support now. Oh, gosh. I really hope he doesn't do it for any reputable company. Although the follow-up here would be applicable. EA tech support now. Yeah, EA tech support sucks. They are terrible. Oh gosh, they're terrible. Guy I worked with didn't know how to make a graph bigger in Excel, so he'd print it out and scan it using the Make Larger function. He'd then print the screen on the newly enlarged graph and paste it back into Excel. Dude. Just how? How? Just how? Oh, but then we have a string of puns coming up as the follow-ups here. I guess you could say he didn't excel at spreadsheets. Word. Outlook, not good. That's a powerful point you've made there. I use a Mac. These jokes aren't very accessible to me. Oh gosh, leave it to computer nerds to do something like that. I worked in IT for a while and saw my coworkers do all kinds of weird stuff. The best was when I got into the office one morning and one of the VPs runs up to me and tells me he did something to his computer and it's all messed up and that I need to fix it right away. So I go into his office and the monitor has been turned upside down. When I log on, I find out he accidentally rotated the screen by right-clicking. So I sat down, right-clicked, rotated it back, and turned the monitor right side up. He thought I was the smartest and most amazing person ever. I have had to do this for someone at work. To this day, they have no idea how they managed to flip their laptop screen like that, and, yeah. I can't come up with a reason how they did it either. My grandma doesn't know how to respond to emails. Her boss once emailed her asking for some information. She proceeded to type out her response, print it out, and mail it to his office. It's not that hard. If my 90-something-year-old grandparents can do it, anyone can do it. My mom doesn't understand the difference between an internet browser and the internet. I installed Chrome on her laptop and removed the Explorer icon from the desktop. She freaked out, and after an attempt to explain it to her, she still demanded that I remove Chrome and, quote, undelete the internet. Just the other day, my mother tried to explain to me that if I wanted to use the internet, I had to use Internet Explorer. Chrome wasn't how you got to the internet. I had no words. My mom is 84 and has no clue about any kind of technology. We were driving back from a family visit yesterday and my grandson was playing with my iPhone. He was asking Siri all these really dumb questions, as only an 8-year-old boy can do. Things like, where is my butt? I heard my mom tell my daughter, that lady is going to get tired of him asking all those silly questions. Oh, if they can't understand AI now, just wait till Skynet becomes a thing. Frick. They're the first ones to go. Girlfriend's grandparents couldn't figure out how to use a digital picture frame. So, they taped a postcard to the front of it. I do email tech support. The number of times people snail mail us a printout of their screen when we request a print screen is just astonishing. The other day, a lady was trying to send a pic from her iPhone, but couldn't find a good signal, so she was shaking and hitting the sides of her phone. She was maybe 50. Hey, if all else fails, just resort to brute force. Or, as the follow-up says, you should have told her she's supposed to blow into the dock connector like it's an NES game cartridge. Oh, I'm guilty of that. Granted, I think anyone who had a Nintendo system back in the day is guilty of that. Oh gosh, memories. Way back when I worked at DEC, there were these giant, ugly CRT terminals called VT52s. The screen wasn't giant, just the enclosure. They had this feature that you could have them beep when the cursor got near the right edge so that you could hit a carriage return, kind of like the bell on a typewriter. There were two problems. One is that the bell was actually a nasty buzzer, so it sounded like you just lost an operation. And the second was that to turn it off, you had to open the case and flip a dip switch. There was a guy named Jim who didn't like the noise, but not enough to get the screwdriver to change it. One day, someone was in his office and they accidentally knocked a cup of coffee into his terminal. After it was all dried out, they plugged it in, and Jim was very happy that the buzzer was finally silenced. 6 months later, his cubicle neighbor was watering the plants when some water spilled into the terminal, and after drying it out, the buzzer came back. Jim knew what to do. He unplugged the terminal, mixed up a cup of coffee with double sugar, and dumped it into the same place that the water had gone in. Sure enough, after drying it out, the buzz was gone, and they all lived happily until the VT100s were issued. I don't even know what a VT insert number is. This just sounds really, really way back. My grandpa would shine a flashlight on the computer screen because he didn't know how to turn the brightness up. My parents recently upgraded to smartphones. They were off on a day trip, and my dad texts me to ask who the actress was in a movie I had not seen. I texted back that he should just look it up. He then texted that they were out of town and he wasn't near a computer. I tried to very gently remind him that he was holding a computer in his hand. So, I was chilling with my friend at work who works in the IT department of a small college. A girl came in horribly frustrated because she couldn't get her USB mouse to work even though she had used it before. I go over and look at the laptop to find nothing wrong with it or the mouse, only to look down and realize that the mouse's USB cord had been forced into the HDMI port. I started laughing at that point, and my friend had to take over and explain to her how she had used the wrong port. Her only reply to all this was, "Well, it looked like it went in there, but I guess it was really hard to fit it in." I'm not going to do it. I am a gentleman and a scholar. I am not going to Michael Scott that. But seriously, they're not even compatible. You have to really try to fit a USB port into an HDMI port. I mean, how? How are people this stupid? My grandma was convinced she needed AV cables to set up her new laptop. Even after trying to explain to her why she didn't need them, I still don't know if she bought them or took them off her TV or something. She was undeterred, and I got tired of dealing with it. So we returned it and bought her a desktop. Old people plus technology equals problems, typically. Heard my dad shouting at me from the other room, "Why the frick doesn't the computer work? What the frick did you do?" I had my own computer and wasn't sure what seemed to be the problem. So I walked to the other room to see him repeatedly hitting the power button to the screen instead of the tower. 1999. Oh, the good old days. Similarly, last year, I was watching TV in my room with the window directly behind the TV, and at one point, the sun right in my eyes. So I decided to put on sunglasses, which in turn, I had to turn up the TV brightness to see. Roommate walked in moments later with a "what the frick?" Okay, who's done that at least once? I think I did that once in college just because there was no way I could really get out of the glare of the sun. But still, that's... Once in elementary school, I needed a worksheet that I had left at school, so I asked my mom if I could call a friend and have her fax it to me. My mom then went on to tell me that I couldn't because then my friend wouldn't be able to do her homework because I would have her copy. That was my first big tech argument, and I was only 7. Oh, it's amazing how far technology's come, and yet we still have so many human errors. Like this one person at work. I won't go into all the details on it, but I have seen them do some just really face-palmy things. The most... I can't even think about this without laughing. The most just why one of them was... They asked me why they couldn't paste a URL into the address bar. And so I went over there just being like, I'm sure it's probably something silly and whatever. And I literally watched them highlight the URL, then move the mouse cursor over without doing anything else, right-click paste, and it was the last thing they copied. They were like, "See, it's not working." And I'm like, "Of course it's not working. You didn't actually copy anything." And they were like, "What?" And I just proceeded to highlight what they needed to have highlighted, Control-C, Control-V in the address bar, boom, problem solved. I love them, but yeah, some of the tech things are just, oh, they make me laugh. That was r/AskReddit, and if you want more funny or uplifting AskReddit content, then go ahead and check out the playlist link in the description below. Now you guys go out there, have a great day. I will see you all tomorrow. Until then, I'm Exile451. Stay beautiful, people.